What's up, everybody? This is Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HawgSports.com. We're going to take one last look at this Ole Miss game. Keith Grayson is going to join us to talk about some of that, give a little bit of the fan reaction. He had some entertaining videos over the weekend. Also, his halftime report was pretty good, concise. But we're going to talk to Keith. We're going to get to your questions and I guess look ahead to this bye week and what else is to come with Razorback Sports. All that and more on Hog Sports Live. I feel like Arkansas usually loses on my birthday weekend. I can think back to there was a Kentucky game several years ago where it was raining. It was in Fayetteville, and I just remember thinking this couldn't possibly be my birthday. It wasn't my birthday, but it was birthday weekend. Last year on my birthday, they got smoked by Auburn. And some of you remember the walk and talk from that game. But this weekend, Arkansas taking care of business. 33-21 over Ole Miss. I've seen some stuff from Ole Miss people, and in all due respect, I don't believe in just bashing anybody like that. But I've seen some stuff about, kind of like after the Mississippi State game, we shot ourselves in the foot. I hear that talk so much, and once again, it all comes down in this conference to teams capitalizing on other teams' mistakes, just like I said in the walk and talk the other day. That's what is oftentimes the difference with teams that are so talented. So, yeah, you shot yourself in the foot. Arkansas capitalized. That's why Bama is Bama. Anyway, I want to get into a few things here. First of all, Hudson Clark is going to receive a scholarship offer in January. We knew that Arkansas was full on scholarships, but this guy obviously deserving 3 interceptions. I thought he got snubbed for National Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week. Not that Grant Morgan didn't deserve it, because Grant Morgan, I think you can make an equal case for him. The kid from South Carolina got it, and that's not to take anything away from him. He had 2 interceptions, but here's a guy with 3 interceptions who is a true freshman or a redshirt freshman walk-on. And there was a couple of awards handed out for Arkansas players. Grant Morgan got SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Grant had a fantastic game, 19 tackles, 1 interception, pick 6, 2 pass breakups, which who knows what would have happened on at least one of those if he didn't have the bionic elbow thing going on. And then Hudson Clark with 3 interceptions as a walk-on cornerback in an SEC game against a quarterback that hasn't thrown but 1 interception all season and absolutely lit up Alabama. 2020 has been absolutely insane. But congratulations to both of those guys. Certainly earned those SEC honors. Possibly could have been getting some national honors also. I think Grant Morgan also got maybe national, Athlon Sports National Defensive Player of the Week. So certainly deserving. Grant Morgan is also a former walk-on who I think leads the nation in tackles now. You can also make a case for Jalen Catalon. Jalen Catalon had a fumble recovery. He had a pick 6. He also had a ton of tackles. Catalon's balling right now. Catalon, as I said the other day, and this is no slight to Tremaine Thomas, who was a really good safety at Arkansas, but I think Catalon's going to end up proving to be the best safety Arkansas has had since Ken Hamlin. I've heard some people kind of knock his height a little bit because he's about 5'10", maybe 5'9", 5'10", but he's pushing 200 pounds. He also set the tone in that game. Remember that hit? I love seeing a team set the tone with a big hit. Bumper Pool did it against Georgia on DeJuan Mathis, and then Jalen Catalon did it on Elijah Moore, just lit him up. But I've seen people say, his height's going to hurt him in the NFL and stuff. It wasn't that long ago, Bob Sanders got hurt for the Indianapolis Colts, but for a year and a half or so, he was the best defensive player in the NFL. He was a second-round draft pick also, but he was only 5'8". Game's a little bit different. But Catalon, he's not giving up anything for not being, 6'2" or whatever. Really strong safety for Arkansas. This is a much-needed bye week. One of my favorite stories that Curtis Wilkerson does, by the way, if you're not following Curtis Wilkerson, it's at Kurt Wilkerson _, at Kurt Wilkerson _ on Twitter. And you're going to really want to make sure that you're following him when basketball season starts up, and we're just, 36 days or so away from the start. He's got a nice breakdown also of Arkansas's most recent basketball practice, which was streamed for him. Well, the Hogs get off to a better start was one of his first 5 burning questions, and they did. Now, we pointed this too. So much of what Arkansas did, especially those first 17 points, were directly a result of starting off with a huge mistake from Ole Miss. All 17 of those points. And this second drive that Arkansas had wouldn't have happened. That 54, 55-yard catch that Treylon Burks had wouldn't have happened if not for a special teams error from Ole Miss. Running into the kicker gave Arkansas a first down. Ended up driving 95 yards. But Arkansas still had a 3-and-out to start things out, but still got off to a better start than they did the last game when they went down 17-0. It was the exact opposite. Can Hogs light up the scoreboard? I mean, if you include defense, then yes. Arkansas as a team has scored more points in each game so far. That's a good trend. Will Arkansas be able to corral the Ole Miss quarterback? That's a fancy headline for Matt Corral. And yeah, they did. Six interceptions. I've never seen a quarterback throw 6 interceptions. The most I've seen is 5 last year. Can Barry Odom derail the lane train? He did. Now, Ole Miss is fast. They go so fast. Like, Arkansas goes fast, but there were more than a couple times where I saw, 8 seconds came off the play clock. So fast. I still think that they made some bad calls, and I don't care what the analytics say. I'm more of a feel guy. How did things feel? By the way, speaking of feel, I was kind of thinking, I'm kind of one of those what's the universe telling me kind of people. I don't know why I'm like that, but I am superstitious about stuff. But, I mean, I knocked the hell out of my head on Friday getting dog food from the pantry and just kind of turned. And, I mean, it rattled my teeth. I caught myself on the door. This looked a lot worse on Friday. But I had this huge knot on my head. And then that night, I'm playing around with the dog a little bit. He's still, just a puppy, 18 weeks. And he gets my ear right here. And, I mean, like I could pull it and it would separate a little bit right there. He got it. And I'm just thinking, man, these are all bad signs for this game on Saturday. That's kind of how I think for some reason. I don't know why. One time in 2016, when, was it 2016? It was the year the PlayStation VR headset came out. And I got up. I'd been promised PlayStation VR. I'd been promised virtual reality since I was a child. I went to Disney World when I was in 11th grade. And they said, this is the next big thing that's happening. And I had to wait 20 years before it finally came out. And so I was in line at Best Buy the night that the PlayStation VR came out. And there were people already in front of me. It was like a midnight release. And I got the last one. And I just remember thinking that time, Arkansas was going to beat Ole Miss. And they did. That would have been, I believe, 2015 maybe. I can't remember exactly, but it was the game in Fayetteville, I think maybe the year before the Hunter Heave. Well, Arkansas cleaned up execution in critical areas. Some did, some didn't. Yeah, they've still got some work to do. Keys to victory is always the same. Penalties, turnovers, special teams, injuries. All those things played in Arkansas's favor. Capitalizing on mistakes, depth, as he has one. I always say that the keys to victory are always the same. You might include something different here and there. Treylon Burks, offensive player of the game, no question. I mean, Treylon. It's so good to see him finally getting the ball. We knew what his potential was, and to see him finally getting what he needs in terms of carries, touches, all that stuff. 15. Let's see, what did he have? 4 rushes for 46 yards. Most of those are backwards passes. He had an end around, which I said after the game, Arkansas is 0 of 6 for end around, jet sweep, reverse type plays, but actually Treylon had a little bit of a gain on one of those. So they're not 0 of 6, they're 1 of 7, technically. 11 catches for 137 yards and a touchdown. 12 targets. Did have 1 drop. Nobody's perfect, but it's good to see finally some of the stuff that you hear about out of practice. Some of the catches that he makes. I've seen some footage of some of the catches that coaches were talking about last year about some of the amazing stuff that he's done. I don't know why they didn't just release that to everybody, but they didn't. But Treylon Burks is positioning himself to be really well regarded on a national scale. I mean, first of all, that catch was probably the catch of the year, college football. And that's a start. And then he's going to have 11 catches after what he did to Georgia. So, like the 2 full games that he's played so far, he's gone over 100 yards. I tell you what I like to see with Traylon. First of all, everybody knows I like Traylon. I think he's a great kid. I love his attitude, his demeanor. I compare him a lot to Amari Cooper in that sense, just kind of a go back to the huddle guy. He's never going to be like celebrating. He's kind of a country kid. He likes Westerns. He's just a different kind of guy. He's a different kind of guy on the football field and off the field in a good way. I don't mean that like it is any kind of slight. I just think he's a great kid. And also to have the athleticism, all the stuff that he has, he's an easy guy to root for. And you're not going to find like off-field issues with Traylon Burks, like when he goes in for interviews and things like that. What we got here? All right. My wife's trying to call me. She's got the dog at the vet for his final appointment. I think they gave us the wrong microchip. So, Traylon Burks, easily offensive player of the game. Other guys did some good things. I don't think that Rakeem Boyd is 100% healthy yet. He looked like he was running pretty strong early on. I just don't know that he's quite there yet. Traylon Smith, 15 carries for 54 yards. Not just a huge game, but he did some good things. Felipe didn't, to me, have his best game. I would say the one thing about Felipe that you wish he'd get better at, and again, we talked about after the walk and talk what you should be asking for out of this team, going into the season. And that was just to stop embarrassing the state of Arkansas, the Razorback logo, all of that stuff. That's the start. Stop doing that. Stay in some games, battle, show some pride. They've done that and beyond. They have beyond exceeded that so far. And for quarterback, it was Felipe just needed to be average, okay? And he's been better than average. He's been better than average so far, especially against Auburn. He was better than average. In this one, I maybe say average. It wasn't his best game. The one thing with Felipe that's kind of stood out so far is just kind of feeling the rush a little bit. Sometimes you feel like maybe he pulls it down just a little bit early, and you'll see a receiver pop open, or just hold it too long in general. So again, we're not expecting perfection. I'm not expecting him to go out 34-34. He was 21-34, 244, a touchdown and a pick. He was certainly a lot better than Matt Corral. But maybe that's something that they can work on a little bit more in the bye week, just kind of getting that clock down in your head a little bit. I think the offensive line was pass blocking pretty well for him. Defense, obviously, let's talk about special teams. Defense, obviously, I'm going to say, I cannot say like Hudson Clark over Grant Morgan or Jalen Catalon. When you factor in that big hit Jalen Catalon had early in the game, which I think is a tone setter, I think it's probably pretty equal. So I'll go three. I'll go 3 defensive guys. Now, for special teams, nobody was just perfect. There wasn't any returns. Reed Bauer was 7 punts and a 46.9 average. If you take away the 28-yarder, you can't take away punts, but if you took away the 28-yarder that he had early, so that first series when Arkansas, I say 3 and out, but no. That was the second series. No, that was the first series. They did go 3 and out, but they almost didn't because of the almost interception that the guy didn't complete the catch. But if he does complete the catch, it's only a 9-yard difference because Arkansas only got a 28-yard punt, so it's the difference in being the 40-yard line and the 49-yard line. So it wasn't that big a deal, and it was because of the 28-yard punt. But if you take that one away, his other 6 punts, he averaged 50 yards a punt, which is pretty impressive. So I'm inclined to give Reed Bauer special teams player of the game. Although A.J. Reed had 2 field goals, but you're supposed to make 32-yarders and 23-yarders. Good on you, but I don't know if that's like an exceptional level. You did what was asked of you. So, Vito Calvaruso, it was windy. You did have one kicked off out of bounds, but you also boomed a lot out of the back of the end zone. I think I'm going to go Reed Bauer. He didn't have any blocked. He had 3 over 50 yards. We'll go Reed. I love these stories. What they were saying about Arkansas's 33-22-21 win over Ole Miss, this probably did better than any story that we had. Kofi Boateng, former Razorback wide receiver. If there's one absolute thing that the Arkansas situation has proven, it's that coaching matters so much. Lucas Coley, Arkansas commit. If you're a recruit in the 21 class and below, Arkansas is the place to be. Lucas Coley's done a good job recruiting for Arkansas. Raleigh Williams III. It's time to start talking about this defense being one of the best in the country. Kevin Richardson II. Okay, Rich. I hope you guys have a great day today, SEC officiating. Bruce Feldman says Arkansas's Grant Morgan has to be a lock for National Defensive Player of the Week. 19 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 pick, 6, 2 passes broken up. No, he wasn't. They give it to the kid from, again, no disrespect to the kid from South Carolina. Great game. And congrats on beating Auburn. They deserved it. They deserved it after stealing one. Michael Zorro says, I hope the Morgan brothers have multiple sons each. Drew Morgan says, put that damn nail in the coffin. LFG. Just a G thing, baby. David Basil says, Grant Morgan should be a slam dunk Crip Hall Award winner that goes to the senior outstanding player from this game. Yes, he was. I don't know that anybody else got a vote. Studson Clark says, Studson Clark, that's Danny's headline. Joseph Hoyt says, former Highland Park cornerback Hudson Clark had 9 interceptions. His senior season looks like Hud Island has officially made its way to Fayetteville. Kyle Deckelbaum says, oh, yeah, this was great from Pittman. They've heard of him now 3 times. Cortland Jackson just says, Hudson Clark, that's it. That's the tweet. Danny West says, I have no idea what's going on. Tim Tebow, who was pretty hard in his pregame pick, says, I just want to say congrats to Arkansas coach Sam Pittman. What a huge turnaround. So impressive from last year to this year. Patrick Smith says, dare I say it, but Arkansas is good. David Pollock's his catch of the year for Burks for Arkansas. Are you kidding me? Ross Dellinger says, Georgia 1. This is defense. This is before the Alabama game. Arkansas 2, and then 3, an actual fence somewhere. A lot of good stuff. All right, I said we're going to go to Keith Grayson, and we got to. You guys got to see Keith's video here. What's going on? I got to take after this. I'm going to go take my MacBook in because I got to get a new keyboard because the S key is broken off. Here it is. You can look at it. There's my S key. Broken off. My space bar now, I have to hit it deliberately to make it space. My C, every time I hit it, it's like CCC. My L, LLL. So annoying. And I hit the keys like I'm mad at them, I know. I pound with passion. That didn't come out right. I pound the keyboard with passion. But there's no excuse for an Apple product breaking like this. If you get a crumb in there, the keyboard's ruined. So anyway, there is a recall, so I can go in and get it fixed. But next, if I do the show Thursday, it might be over the phone. I might do a walk and talk Thursday because I don't think my backup computer can't power all this stuff to do this live stream. So, all right, we're going to go to Keith. Where's my Keith video? Y'all got to see this. So Keith, he's been doing halftime stuff. He's been doing halftime reaction stuff on Twitter. I'm going to play it for you while I get him on the horn.
Quick Saturday update. I want Bama. Bring on Saban. I want to play Bama. Bring on Bama.
You want to see it again? Hey, I'm playing your video right now.
Quick Saturday update.
Embarrassing.
I want Bama. Bring on Saban. I want to play Bama. Bring on Bama.
You can't hear it, but I thought it was Keith. I've watched it probably 30 times. I thought it was hilarious.
So my family doesn't know about my Twitter personality. So I don't know if they watch the podcast or what, but sorry to all the.
It's exposed now.
So this starts out as I send it to this is just I was in a text thread with my friends talking about the game.
Yeah.
And I sent that to my friends, and then one of my friends put it on their Instagram page, and I was like, well, since it's out there, I might as well just post it on Twitter.
It's great. I loved it. Do you always watch the game with the Houston Nut hat and the and shirtless?
My boy Ricky Glover gave me the nut hat in exchange for some brown party liquor, and we're 2-0 with the shirt off. So I think that's I have this. Back in the day, when I was 12 years old, I had a Realtree camo long sleeve shirt that I cut the sleeves off, and I wore that to every game in some way, form or fashion that I ever attended. It was a sleeveless camo shirt. I'd wear it with like a suit coat, whatever, and to class it up. But now I think I'm gonna have to shave my back, and if I ever come to a home game, it's shirtless.
Yeah, you're gonna shave the back, huh? So, are you counting the Auburn game as a win? When you say 2-0?
Yeah,
okay.
Not.
Just making
Are you not? Why?
Yeah,
Change the damn record book. We're 3-1, bro. We're the second best team in the SEC.
I'm with you on that. I think it's very classic Arkansas that the NCAA has reviewed that rule and altered the rule. That's like very 1964 when they changed the way the timing when you vote for a national champion. Somehow this is going to end up coming back and biting Arkansas. You know that, right? Just like it did the following year in 1964 when Arkansas went undefeated, and they would have won the national championship under the old rules that they changed, but they lost the bowl game.
Same thing with the fair catch.
It's going to be something. It's going to be something that ends up coming back and biting them. They're going to end up doing something similar, and it's going to get them. No, it's not. All that. I think all that stuff's done. I think Pittman has wiped all that stuff out. All that old vibe stuff. I feel like everything's changed, and we're not talking about the past anymore. At least I'm not talking about the past anymore, unless I'm talking about a game that they played, last year against a future opponent or something.
Sam Pittman has single-handedly reversed 2020, like the good fortune of 2020. He saved the year. Yeah,
I'm thinking the first 6 months of COVID were pretty rough. And then I think these next, 4 months or whatever, maybe going to be pretty good.
Has your outlook for the season obviously changed, right? I mean, has your record prediction altered in any sort of way?
Yeah, I think so because, I did not predict him to win against Mississippi State. I just thought, road game, yada, yada. I did predict him to win preseason against Ole Miss, and I predicted him to beat Missouri, and I did two predictions. I would say my final prediction, Keith, if I'm fully transparent, was 2 wins. When I was on the Hog Hustle, I predicted 3 wins, actually, when we went down the schedule one by one, but I would say my final was 2 wins. And that's just because I've been beaten, over the head so many times. I just low expectations is fine. But, yeah, I think that, first of all, I think they can beat Texas A&M. I don't know if I'm going to pick that yet. We'll see. I do think this bye week comes at a really good time, but Tennessee, I've been saying forever, man. Tennessee is so beatable. They are when I think about Tennessee, the last 9 games before they played Kentucky, the last 9 games they had played one top 25 team, and it was Georgia, and Georgia beat them by 23 points. And they're nationally ranked off that. And they hadn't played anybody. And then Arkansas, which is in the exact same conference, in their last 9 games, 6 of the opponents had been ranked. 3 of the opponents were top 3. It's incredible to me that those 2 teams are in the same conference, and that's the slate for both of them. So Tennessee's schedule the last year and a half, I should say last year, because the first part of their schedule when they were terrible last year was rough. But the second half was weak. And now they fall to Kentucky in that 10th game, and so I'm not surprised at Tennessee. So that's kind of why I thought Arkansas, getting them at home, 6:30. There's a real chance for Arkansas in that one. I'm not convinced that they can't beat LSU, Missouri, of course. I look at this and I say, okay, A&M. They played A&M well last year. There's no reason that they can't again. It is at Kyle Field, so that's a disadvantage, even though they can only have 20,000 or so. But Tennessee, LSU, Missouri, those are all winnable games to me.
Yeah, man. So so 5-5, what does that look like bowl-wise? Like, if there's still a bowl season?
I have no idea, because if there is still a bowl season, everybody's bowl eligible, right? So everybody can go to a bowl game. If they're 5-5, it means they won 5 games in the SEC out of 10. I mean, where's that going to rank in the SEC when everything's said and done? You know, that would be my big question. You know what? By the way, ESPN has done a terrible job with their like FPI, their the rankings and stuff. Like, to have Auburn, they had them like 4. They didn't move Auburn. I don't understand what they're doing with their FPI, or why anybody would rank Auburn. I guess it's all based off what you've done in the last 2 or 3 years, what your name means and stuff. But I don't understand why anybody would rank Auburn or give Auburn votes right now after what they've done the last couple games.
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire down there, and I couldn't be happier for them. That marriage made in hell. Let them die together down there.
For some reason, I have the backdrop up. My bad, everybody.
Happy birthday, Trey Biddy. What are you doing for your birthday? Just experiencing a bunch of technical difficulties?
Yeah. I mean, my computer has just been a total disaster since I woke up this morning. But we went and did Top Golf. We got the new Top Golf thing in Rogers. We did that. Me and my wife and another couple did that on Friday. So I didn't really, it's COVID time, so I didn't really have a birthday or anything. Probably go get something to eat or something tonight. Nothing big, just the family. Nothing too special for 43 years old. I know you can't believe I'm 43. Oh yeah,
it was my girlfriend's birthday yesterday.
Oh yeah,
and then with all this winning, I just don't know what to do with all this winning, man. It's like hurting me. I'm walking around feeling like Hudson Clark after a night at the Tridell House. I mean,
oh my God,
Lord, man! Like I'm on a 3-day. This is gonna take me a while to recover from.
Are you moving to Fayetteville or Northwest Arkansas?
Okay.
Keith, for those who don't know Keith, by the way, Keith lives in Phoenix, Arizona. He is a high school football coach on the side. He works in real estate, and he's also the disgraced former president and founder of the Arizona Razorback Club. And you've been out in Phoenix for some time now. So you're talking about, you said you caught your girlfriend looking at Zillow in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, so here's the deal. We've been looking at land in Ouray, Colorado, just outside of Silverton and Ouray, that corner of Colorado, because it's easy to get to. Nobody cares about this. Nobody's tuning into this podcast to hear all this.
So make it quick.
But I'm looking at. I got a couple of calls in on some parcels in Northwest Arkansas, and I'm asking for some permitting to start a distillery.
Oh, really? Whiskey?
Something like that. I'm not going to give it away, but I got a little capital saved up. I know enough people, and I should probably use that to my advantage at some point instead of just coming out to. And this is like I want something to go to. I mean, I want to be back home. Arkansas is home, but not. I don't know if it's a full-time thing or what. Yeah. At this point,
I'm going to play your halftime update real quick, Keith.
Quick Saturday update. I want Bama. Bring on Saban. I want to play Bama. Bring on Bama.
I love it. Are you gonna do that for every game?
I'm not that angry. I'm not that angry of a person.
That's it's played up a little bit. It's a character.
My literate Eddie from Clarksville impersonation.
Yeah, gotcha. No, it's a caricature of yourself in a way, right?
I can tell you one thing. I've watched every game by myself. Yeah. And I've seen the police pass by my house 3 times, and they do not come down my street. And I live in like this fishbowl. I have these Arcadia doors. It's like all glass in the living room. And my neighbors are probably thinking that God only knows what is going on Saturdays, because I'm not shy about being loud in a room by myself.
I prefer to do that too. I don't like we'll travel for games and stuff, but COVID times, and I like to stay home for one game a season at least, just to watch it on TV, just to mix it up. But I prefer to watch by myself too. I don't, and my wife and daughter will be watching in the other room. We'll have people over, watching in the other room. Halloween, we're having, we're gonna probably have a couple people over, and I'll be just locked away in my office watching watching the game by myself. But I prefer it that way. I don't know why. I do know why. But it's and a lot of you understand.
if we win one on the road and you're not at the game, you have to do the walk and talk on Dixon.
On Dixon? That would be difficult. I don't know if I want to do that in COVID times. I might get sworn and get COVID from some of these
You're
college
getting heckled.
kids.
You got heckled twice in the last one.
Yeah, I mean, both times they were talking about the walk and talk. I mean, so technically heckled, yeah, but they knew what it was. So that's good. I'm over that stuff, though. I mean, early on when I started doing walk and talk and stuff, you just kind of feel stupid walking around with a camera or a phone in your face, talking to yourself, but you get used to it.
Well, I feel like hot garbage right now. And this has been my worst segment since we've been on the show. So I'm glad I could be on with all this going on. But I guess the only thing I have to say in closing is that this is just the beginning. Like we're 4 games into the Sam Pittman era in year 1. This thing has just now kicked off, and they trust their team so much that they don't change the game plan no matter what or who is in the game. They trust their guys to carry out and execute whatever they put forth in the game plan, no matter what happens or who comes out. Mm-hmm. So this thing is going to get rolling, and everybody's worried about Barry Odom leaving or whatever. But we got, or keeping him here rather. But look at who else is helping with this. We got Sam Carter, Derek LeBlanc, Ryan Rhodes. Those guys are busting their ass on defense too, and each one of their units is producing at a high rate that we have not seen for a long time. Mm-hmm. And we got to keep some of these guys together, but Pittman was the one that got them here. So we just got to keep this thing rolling, and it is year 1. How exciting. I mean, this blows away what Petrino had going. You could see it at the end of Petrino's first year, and you're like, oh, well, he had a 4th and 1 call against, Louisiana Monroe or whoever the hell it was, and to get out of there, Lafayette, but you're like, you can see it. You can see what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Well, we see what it's going to be now, like out the gate.
Yeah. And it's different. I mean, it's a different kind of feeling than Petrino. With Petrino, it was just like, that they're going to be out-schemed, whoever you play and stuff. And with Pittman, it's just like it's about the buy-in and the team, there's something very special about that, and we're really seeing it. So.
And I will say that, Franks is catching a little bit of heat and a little bit, for me, I don't know what I'm looking at if he's a good quarterback or not. I have no idea. I think the difference is in Bryles' offense is Franks is a manager, and I think Jefferson and Hornsby are playmakers, and those are the types of quarterbacks that excel in this offense. And
we'll see.
We're still a year away, probably.
Yeah, I mean it's. I think with what they've done, quarterback recruiting, and Barton and Bud did. I think Barton Simmons made this point, but he was just talking about all the quarterbacks on Arkansas's roster with Felipe Franks, Malik Hornsby, KJ Jefferson. They've been recruiting at a really high level. He actually ranked Arkansas's quarterback room one of the top 25 in the country heading into the season, just because of the guys that they have brought in to the program. That somebody, in his mind, somebody's going to hit. If you keep recruiting at that level. So I thought that was a really good point. All right, Keith, anything else you want to add?
You quoted Stuart Mandel earlier. Screw that douchebag, because he was the guy who said that SEC hired 6 great coaches and then Sam Pittman.
Yeah, he did. I think he also said something like "Good luck, Arkansas." Also,
yeah.
But hey,
yeah,
I'm not going to hold any grudges against anybody.
No. Life is about holding grudges.
Yeah, I know the sting doesn't wear off with me either, but I guess I just said that to be nice.
Who cares? Yeah.
All right, brother.
Later, player.
All right, later, Keith. That's Keith Grayson. Let's watch the video one more time. Hold on, where is it?
Quick Saturday update. I want Bama. Bring on Saban. I want to play Bama. Bring on Bama.
I just get a kick out of that. So if you're not following Keith Grayson, here's his Twitter real quick, at Keith Grayson _. Again, he's been on the message board. He's whiskey drunk on the forum. I think that's a name that he picked a long time ago maybe when he was much younger. But he also impacts young men's lives as a assistant high school football coach out in Arizona. He's in real estate, and he is the disgraced former president and founder of the Arizona Razorback Club. That is a long story. If you hit him up on Twitter, I'm sure he will tell you why he was removed from that position from the club that he actually founded by the university. All right. I wanted to bring this up too, just because the injury situation going on with Arkansas, and we're about to get into your questions, but the injury situation going on right now, they've mounted up a little bit, and we talked a little bit on the walk and talk. Just, Pittman has said, they got to get bigger. They got to work on getting bigger because they're being physical. It's just sometimes when they're hitting people, they're getting banged up. But Rakeem Boyd doesn't look like he's quite 100%. I did think that he ran the ball pretty well early on, was breaking tackles and stuff, but just never, after a while, just kind of, I don't know. I just don't think he's 100%. I believe Pittman said that Burks is like 80%. Wow, if that's true. I'm not sure Trey Knox is fully 100%. Knox just has not – he's capable of so much more. And I think we'll see that from him eventually, but right now it's not happening for him. Noah Gatlin had the sprained ankle. I don't think he came out of the game Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. But Noah Gatlin has a sprained ankle, so, a little bit more time. I mean, it caused him to miss almost all but one snap of the Auburn game. So – it had to be pretty severe. So getting this week off, basically 2 weeks to get really healthy. Bo Limmer is banged up, and there's no question that Bo Limmer is dealing with some stuff. Didn't start the game, played a little bit, so hopefully some time off for him. He can get back. Dorian Gerald still not back. You feel bad for Dorian Gerald. I mean, the guy misses almost all of last season after the first half against Portland State. Was playing a good game. Comes out and has 1.5 sacks against Georgia, gets hurt, and we haven't seen him since. And to be honest, guys, I mean, Arkansas's, like, Eric Gregory may be one of the most unsung guys on this team. Zach Williams may be one of the most unsung guys on this team. Those two defensive ends are really playing well. Grant Morgan, we know he's bionic elbow guy. So any time off you can get for Grant Morgan. Bumper Pool also, who didn't even play Saturday. Both of those guys, you need them healthy for that Texas A&M game, as healthy as you can get them. I don't know if either of these guys are going to be healthy throughout the rest of the season. Just looking at him, I mean, Morgan looks like sometimes he comes off, he can barely hold his arm up. I don't even know how he does it. Takes guts, dude. Kudos to you. And I know Bumper Pool's been playing with the same stuff, so he finally got some time out. Deion Edwards hadn't played. Monteric is an interesting one. We touched on this in the walk and talk too, but with Monteric, I mean, you can't just pull Hudson Clark, can you? I mean, can you pull a guy who had 3 interceptions? I mean, Monteric is a really talented player. I think he has next level ability, okay? I thought it would have been key to have him in this game just because he's such a good tackler. What do you do? The good thing is they work those guys at a lot of different spots. I think maybe if it were me, and they obviously have more inside information, they're the coaches, but maybe you bring Monteric back and you put him at corner, and then with Hudson Clark, maybe you look at him in one of the safety spots. I mean, they've been running a lot of that 3-2-6, right? Maybe you look at him at one of those the other 5 defensive back spots. Something to consider. I don't know. I mean, it's a good problem to have. And that guy's been the surprise of college football, maybe. I mean, you just don't see that. That does not happen. Jerry Jacobs still dealing, pretty obviously, he's dealing with still a little bit of an ankle. He didn't start on Saturday. Miles Slusher hasn't really been in. Micah Smith was out this game. So you've got, a dozen players that we know of that are dealing with, definitely somewhat significant stuff right now. So I'll also say this. There was a caller on Drive Time the other day that asked me if I could see Arkansas running a 3-2-6 in this game against Ole Miss, and I was like, I don't know. Probably, they got a couple of guys that are really good running backs, quarterback can run. They average almost 200 rushing yards a game. I don't know if you can do an odd 3-man front in this one. You probably, he was like, can you defend them like you did Mississippi State? And they didn't do that. I mean, they still brought some blitzes and stuff from the secondary and, brought linebackers and stuff like that. And they didn't really do that any time but one time aside from 4th and 1 plays against Mississippi State. But they ran an odd front even the goal line, they're running 3 down linemen. I mean, so I was wrong on that. Okay. What else we got? Got some good coverage at HawgSports today. I mentioned that deep dive evaluation of Arkansas backcourt from practice from Curtis Wilkerson. Again, you need to be following Curtis. Before we get into your questions, I didn't do this earlier, so I'm going to make sure to let you guys know you can always tune in on Facebook Live. If you haven't or if you haven't followed the page, then go ahead and do so now. Also available on YouTube. Be sure to hit that thumbs up on both of those outlets and interact, share with the video, comment, all that good stuff. Also available Apple Podcasts. Throw us a 5-star rating if you like the content, and we'd love to have a review from you also so others know what to expect. Also available on Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere else you can think of to find your favorite podcast. HawgSports.com is just $1 for your first month right now. It's a great deal. You know you want to be following the Hogs right now, so you might as well get it from the #1 independent insider source on Razorback sports and recruiting. Also, sign up for our newsletter. We'll deliver breaking news to your email inbox as well as daily Razorback content, usually probably put about 8 articles in there every morning. I would say probably 6 or 7 of them are going to be free. And if we put a VIP article in there, we'll notify you. We'll put a VIP tag out there so you'll know. So you don't have to worry about clicking if you don't want to. But if you want the in-depth stuff, then you're going to want to go VIP, $1 for your first month. Also 30% off for your first year. Also sign up for text alerts. So we sent, I think, maybe 2 text alerts this morning when Hudson Clark and Grant Morgan were awarded. And or maybe just sent one. I can't remember. But we only send breaking news, so you don't get them all the time. But whenever there is big news, you will definitely get them. All right. We're going to go to HawgSports.com, to the Razor's Edge VIP forum, and see what questions we have there from our membership first. And if we have time, we'll get to you guys on Facebook as well. Which games left on the schedule do you think we win, lose? We kind of went over that, but I think Tennessee is a possibility. I think Texas A&M is a possibility. Now, it's hard to say win or lose, but when I talk about games that they can win, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Missouri, those 3 definitely jump out to me. I'd have to look at the whole schedule. Let's see what else they got. So Texas A&M, winnable. Tennessee, winnable. Florida's a lot to ask. It's at Florida, at the Swamp. That's going to be a lot to ask. LSU looks like they're potentially beatable also. Missouri. So Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Missouri. There are 4 winnable games there. Arkansas should be 3-1 and nationally ranked right now. But the SEC doesn't even have the gumption to apologize. Doesn't even have the gumption to admit that they're wrong. It's weak. Disappointed in you, SEC. I'm an SEC guy. I love SEC football. I love SEC college towns. I love SEC fans, even the ones that you don't like. I still love them. I love to hate them. I love this conference. This was disappointing. I love Apple products. My keyboard is disappointing. I love the SEC. That ruling is disappointing, and the explanation of that rule is also pathetic. Do better. Do better than that. HawgFan KS16 says, how long do you think it takes for our offense to get up to the same level as our defense? I don't know. It might take a while. I mean, a lot of it depends on Franks, but there were a couple of plays. I mean, Traylon Burks had a drop 3rd down pass. Rakeem Boyd had a drop 3rd down pass too. So you have to factor that in. There's a couple of drops there. Devion Warren had that pass was high, but it was tipped by Devion that was intercepted. So I think they're showing improvement. I thought, the second half against Auburn's the best that they've played so far. So we'll see. I mean, offense is so much about timing, and I think that's really affecting a lot of schools. Didn't seem to be affecting Ole Miss until last week. Shivers45 says, Trey, do you think the offensive struggles have more to do with play calling or execution? I think it's just timing, rhythm, all those things. That's all. I'd say execution because there were 5 or so plays that were executed. We could have blown Ole Miss out. Yeah. Sparks Co. says, is there anyone on offense you expect to show up down the stretch that hasn't contributed much in the first half of the season? I mean, Trey Knox, I would expect him at some point to emerge. Rakeem Boyd hasn't had a good game yet, and he's been dealing with an injury the last couple, and didn't play the Auburn game. But I would say Rakeem and Trey Knox are guys that we're just kind of waiting on. I think Hudson Henry has a big game on the horizon at some point. Which is a bigger issue with getting the running game started, offensive line or Boyd not performing well? I mean, the offensive line isn't getting tremendous push. Now, I thought they pass blocked pretty good, but I'd say it's probably a combination, JHG 2020. Kuna Hog says, do Ole Miss fans not realize that we played in the win and had 2 turnovers ourselves? Are they saying that the win affected them more than it did Arkansas? Yeah, that's not a good argument. Tellman 2010 says, Trey, do you think they are playing Rakeem hurt just on his lacks of production of his trading series with Smith? I think Rakeem is – I think he's just not 100%. Shivers 45 says, also, Trey, if you had to rank the 5 most impactful players on defense in order, how would you rank them? I know all the guys are playing, have nothing short of it. So 5 most impactful guys on defense. That is tough. I'm going to say – man, that's tough. I might say Jalen Catalon. No. I can just say 5 and not in order. Is that okay? I'm going to say Jalen Catalon, Grant Morgan, Bumper Pool, Hudson Clark. There's a lot of guys for that next one. I mean, you talk about Joe Fouché. I think Eric Gregory has done some good things. Zach Williams, Jonathan Marshall. How about Jonathan Marshall? I'll go with those 5. But it's hard to pick out just 5 on defense. JHG 2020 says, have we ever played this many walk-ons consistently in the past? I'm not sure. I remember saying so. I mean, there's been some good walk-ons, but usually it's like a guy here and there, you know, a Brandon Burlsworth or George Wilson, you know. I can't remember, like, it's not like they're playing like a ton of walk-ons because they're on scholarship now, but if you want to like talk about former walk-ons and current, you know, Hudson Clark, obviously, who may be in line for the Burlsworth Trophy. But you got Hudson Clark, Simeon Blair, Grant Morgan, and then offense. I don't know. Do you have anybody on offense really heavily contributing? Blake Kern. So really, you know, 4 that are like really heavily contributing. Texhog 817 says, happy birthday. I think we go 4-2 over the next 6. I don't know. It's possible. I think they're going to be in most of the games they play. I mean, I don't think they're going to beat Bama or anything, but I think they got a shot maybe in all but 2 of them. Not that they don't have a shot. It's just it's Florida in the swamp, you know, and it's Alabama. Shivers 45 says, Trey, do you see any potential commitments coming soon with the excitement surrounding this team right now? Probably a better question for Danny, but recruits are paying attention. There's no question about that. Let's see, I think I answered that pretty much. Alto Kona 44. Warren 96 Hog says, if Gus and Chad get fired, who would be funnier to extend an offensive coordinator offer as a slap in the face? I'm not sure what you mean there. Hog Golf Pro says, aside from the obvious winning, what has been your favorite part of the season so far? I mean, I didn't ask for them to win going into the season. I wasn't like, you better win or else. You know, I just wanted to see them fight, and that's what it's been. I wanted to see a team. I want to see. I've said this before, but I heard so much crap about problems in the locker room. This coach doesn't like this coach. Offense doesn't like the defense. Older players don't like the younger players. I hate that. That bugged me so much because I heard stuff all the time, and I don't hear that anymore. And I don't think it's just because they've got a better handle on that kind of stuff. I just think these guys are playing as a team. So that's been my favorite part. Just see these guys fighting for each other, playing for each other, see some positivity. That's been it. Warren 96 Hog says, how do you think we can shoot ourselves? How long do you think we can shoot ourselves in the foot before it bites us? It'll take wins, however. I mean, it'll bite you some point. I mean, you run into a good team and they're going to capitalize. That's kind of what we've been saying all year. Rocky Mountain Hog says, coming off the bye week, what area do you see improving the most? Hopefully injuries, because I just mentioned a dozen players or so, and you know the offense needs to get in sync, obviously, but really across the board, get healthy. Hogwild 97 says, what adjustments would you like to see the offense make before A&M? I mean, it's hard for me to complain too much about it, but you'd like to see some guys obviously get healthy, but maybe work with, you know, Felipe. If I had one critique on him, it's just, you know, about kind of feeling the rush a little bit better. But I think it's just you just get better. You just get more timing and stuff. Kunu Hog says, I swear, Trey Biddy, if you don't put "I pound with passion" on your Twitter profile, then I'll cancel my membership. Yep, that was a slip, wasn't it? Hawk Savage says, how much better is this team when healthy? The guys on the field are playing lights out. So how big is the window of improvement? I think that they have a chance to really improve if they can get healthy. I think this bye week comes at a great time for them. Coming off of a win, you get to enjoy the win for a little bit longer. Get some young guys some work on that timing with the offense, address some issues, self-scout, all of those good things. I got good clap 12 says, I have never seen Miles Slusher recently after seeing the first couple games. I haven't seen him in the injury report either. Did I miss something? I think he's dealing with an injury. Pill Pusher 63 says, what are the chances that Briles uses both Boyd and Smith in the same backfield? It's possible. I mean, they line up a tight end in the backfield, or, I've seen Burks back there, so it's possible. I think it's fine just to keep rotating them in and out, though. Especially when you got a guy like, Burks that you can put back there, do things with him. Bullhog82 says, what seniors do we have a real shot at keeping? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at the roster. We'll see what seniors may be. I mean, I've got a few on the top of my head, but let's bring up the roster here. Oh, that's the schedule. Sports roster. Seniors. All right, so Rakeem Boyd likely gone. Devion Warren, I think maybe a possibility. Maybe. He did not redshirt, so he's only been here 4 years. Hayden Henry, possible. H.T. Fountain, the long snapper, maybe he comes back, yeah. Ty Clary, possibly. Jerry Jacobs, possibly. Jerry Jacobs has another year of eligibility anyway. He's listed as a redshirt senior, but he only played 3 games last year, so he gets that year back. I say that. He's listed as a redshirt senior, so he'd have to apply for the 6th year, which he would get. Dorian Gerald, possibly. I mean, he's barely played lately, And Dorian's a guy that might have a chance at the next level if he can put together a healthy season. Just depends if he gets back on the horse and he plays these last several games, then maybe he's gone. But if he's still banged up, then I could see him potentially coming back. Felipe could on 2 different levels. He's probably a candidate for that 6th year also, since he only played 3 games last year. But he gets the year back anyway. Possibly on Felipe. I don't know. I mean, I know what Pittman said. They're hoping him. He has such a good year that he wants to go pro. Jack Lindsey could come back. Tyson Morris could come back. Micah Smith could come back. Grant Morgan would be a great guy to have back. Deion Edwards could come back. A.J. Reed could come back. T.J. Hammonds. Jonathan Marshall, I think Jonathan's playing himself maybe into getting drafted. Sam Lloyd could come back. Chibozie Mwana opted out already. Myron Cunningham could come back. Myron could possibly see his name called. That's a possibility. Blake Kern, I think, would be a great option to return. Now, he has been here for 5 years, so he may be ready to move on to the next stage of life. But when you got guys playing like they are as a team and all that stuff, it's hard to just walk away if you have the option of coming back, I think. Eli Hale is another walk-on that could possibly come back. Xavier Kelly could come back. So, I mean, there's a lot of seniors on this roster that I just named off that could potentially come back. A lot. I know we still have 6 games left and possibly a 7th, but based on what we've seen so far, do you think Franks will be back next year? We went over that, Warren. Warren also says, when's the last time you remember 3 coaches on campus at the same time who were beloved as much as Pitt, Muss, and DVH? Maybe when Houston Nutt, early years, mid to early years. Nolan Richardson, right around, if you talk about Houston Nutt in 98, Nolan Richardson still in 98, John McDonnell. Maybe you have to go back to 98. So it's been a while. 22 years. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We answered that one. What do you think the ceiling with Arkansas with Sam Pittman at the helm can eventually win the SEC and make the playoffs? Let's not get ahead. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves just yet. But I do think that we could be talking about eventually taking things to the next level. Ham Wow says, "What are you dressing up for Halloween? What's your favorite candy bar?" I was thinking about just putting some horns on my head. I've actually got some from last Halloween that I didn't use. Who knows? Maybe I'll wear one of those old people masks, come on the show and do that. Favorite candy bar. I like a Reese's Crispity Crunchy bar. I like a Baby Ruth. A Butterfinger. I mean, I guess the better question is like, what candy bar do you not like? That might be a better one. I might go Reese's Crispity Crunchy. Who wins a fight, Chad Morris or Drinkwitz? You almost got me there, MB 50187. I think Drinkwitz would beat Chad Morris in a fight. Whiskey Drunk says he feels terrible today. Decker 20 says, do you think Frank stays one more year? We went over that kind of. Mr. Dixon says, to what do you attribute the lack of significant contribution of Trey Knox? I don't know. He might be injured. I mean, you don't always know. Some guys just, they're dealing with something. And, that's why I never just say, I see stuff like, so-and-so's playing terrible. He's not playing with any heart and stuff. And I always stay away from saying that kind of stuff because I know a lot of times a guy has an injury and you just don't know about it. All right. Let's see if we got anything on Facebook here. Coming from Tennessee, Vols fans are the worst. Every year feels like 98. Hope this one feels like 99. I want to see if we got anything unique here. Matt Manor says, anybody see where Matt Corral threw his helmet out of anger and Hudson Clark caught it? I didn't see that. It wouldn't surprise me. He's catching everything he's throwing. Don Elwood said, that's at least 2 from Keith, I think. Kurt Olson said, my kids know not to even walk in front of the TV during the Hogs game. They walk around it. A lot of comments. Andrew Douglas Eford says, how can we avoid 3 and outs at the start of the game going in the College Station? We need to find a way to sustain that first drive. Yeah, it's just been, I don't know why. They just can't seem to get going. I'm starting to fade here. I was kind of fading going in. It's kind of dreary outside, and I've kind of feel that nasally allergy thing. So I don't that's probably why I don't see what I mean? I go about 50 minutes and I start. I mean, that's about all I got. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I don't see anything. Is Traylon Smith starting over Boyd? I think most questions we covered. All right, everybody. Before we go, if you haven't thrown us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and do that, please. Throw us the rating. Throw us a review. Say something nice. We'd love to have it. Again, it helps boost the algorithm. Also available on Facebook Live, YouTube. Be sure to throw us a like on both of those channels if you like the content. Subscribe. Hit the notifications bell on YouTube so you're notified anytime we upload new videos. Also available on Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere else you can think of to find your favorite podcast. I told you, I just start right about the 50-minute mark. No commercial breaks, just talking incessantly forever. You start to fade a little bit. Throat starts to get dry, start stumbling over the words. So that's my ceiling. And we've gone 59 minutes here. So appreciate Keith Grayson for joining us. Appreciate you guys for asking your questions. We'll see you guys later on in the week. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, and we'll catch you next time.